another episode of the Autumn Windbags. RJ Clifford, Juan Soto. Let's have some fun today. Real quick, the wife in Las Vegas, one night for work, right? There and back. She says it's for work. I'm assuming she's probably meeting her boyfriend, but she says work. And remember the last time she was in Vegas working, we were recording a show, and she was at a restaurant sitting next to Mark Davis. She got a selfie with the Raiders owner. We played it on the show. No joke. I don't know if it's a coincidence. I don't know if she plans it. But she is at a restaurant right now in Las Vegas, and Dr. Dre is sitting at the table next to her. I demanded a photo from her. I will incorporate it in the post edit. This is Wednesday night when we're recording. I will incorporate it. She sees more like Raider fans and Raider people that like twice a year she's in Las Vegas than the 20 times a year I'm there.
She's in the right spots, man.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Ellis Island playing $5 blackjack. She's having a $130 tomahawk ribeye. It's the difference between us.
Damn, that sounds good.
Doesn't it, though? Real quick, I guess the Las Vegas Aces, Mark Davis's Las Vegas Aces, just won the WNBA title. I only know that because this is making the rounds. Mark Davis with the moves. Mark
the white
Davis.
Suit, bro. The white suit, bro.
I'm digging the white suit. Digging the move. He even got like kind of a haircut. Like it's less moppy than normal.
Yeah. What's up with the karate moves? He was like karate chopping.
Right? Everybody's kung fu fighting.
Good. Look at this.
Mark Davis.
Hey,
look at that.
Hey.
That's him just pulling money in from the Raiders. Just that's that motion. Just like hoarding the money.
He's so happy,
sexual
dude.
energy.
He doesn't know what to do with himself.
Josh McDaniels just bought himself 3 more years employed by the Raiders because he's going to be so happy that the Aces win that he doesn't care if the Raiders keep losing.
Let's get some more W's with that too.
Dude, imagine his Super Bowl dance. If this is his WNBA title dance, what's his Lombardi trophy dance?
He's pulling his ass out.
Right? He's going to whip out his dick and helicopter it.
Whoa.
We agreed that dick was fine.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
No, we didn't. No, that's one of the words. We said ass was fine.
Okay.
Where jar?
That's 2.
It's just a 2 of them.
Look at those moves, though. I think I just passed you. Yeah, I'm at 11 now.
Yeah, you might have.
Yep.
I've been doing a good. I've been trying, man. I've been trying.
Even a little angel. It was like 8-2 at one point, and I just went on a tirade. Mark Davis's dance moves inspired me. What can I say? In all seriousness, though, I think that does affect the Raiders. I think he's going to be a little bit more patient because he's like, oh, I got trophies. I'm all jacked. He's going to be hungover when the game comes around because the parade. He's not going to care.
Listen, man, I honestly think it can work against the Raiders. Not against the Raiders, but against their not winning. Because winning one is like, oh, see, I won one. Okay, cool, man. I won one. Good. But when you win 2, you're like, dude, these guys won 2 already. What have you guys done? You guys haven't even won 1 yet. I think
I'm in the middle of a dynasty. You guys in the middle of a dumpster fire. Well, I think it's time to be a little more positive because we are 3-3. Defense is starting to represent an average-looking defense, which is fantastic. Finally getting some turnovers. Max Crosby's being Max. The defensive linemen that you couldn't convince me existed are now existing, doing some stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And then right when that happens, injury strikes. Once again, Jimmy Garoppolo hurt. We were recording this, like I said, Wednesday night when the injury report came out, and he was listed as did not practice, excuse me. He did not practice him with Justin Hare and Nate Hobbs. Nate Hobbs, man, I don't know what's going on with him. He's got to come back.
His ankle jacked up, man.
But it's like, this is what, 2.5, 3 weeks? Like, this is like IR level.
This would be his 3rd week, yeah.
This is like, he should have been on IR if this is the case, but.
No, wait. No, this is going to be his 4th week.
He should have been on IR.
He didn't play against the Chargers. Yeah, Chargers he didn't play, and the last 2 wins he didn't play.
So Jimmy G not practicing, and Josh McDaniels at the press conference Wednesday said Hoyer and Farva will both get reps today. So he's still kind of, we're not sure. Again, Josh McDaniels doesn't give a lot of detail on things like this, but he's kind of, I don't know if he's going to play or not. And also, I'm not going to commit if it's going to be O'Connell or Hoyer. What do you make of all this stuff?
It's just, him covering his bases.
I
Of
think
course.
this is. I know I asked you and then I immediately cut you off.
Yeah.
Great job, RJ. I also think he does enjoy, and I do understand the strategy of not letting the Bears know who's playing. Like it could literally be Jimmy G, Farva, or Hoyer, and there's an advantage to that. So I do kind of get that.
Well, I mean, honestly, is the game plan going to be any different? I don't think so. I think it's going to be the same game plan no matter who plays. Yeah, I think it's going to be the same game plan. So I don't think the Bears are tripping on that because it's going to be, the same looks, the same reads, the same.
Two guys have a ton of film. One of them doesn't. And Hoyer and Jimmy are different enough. Like Hoyer's got a little bit more of a deep ball than Jimmy. Jimmy moves in the pocket a little bit better than Hoyer. I mean, you're right. Like it's not like you're going from like Lamar Jackson to Tom Brady, but
oh God.
Yeah. Daughter's been sick all week. Now it's my turn. All right.
Perfect.
I'm not editing that out, by the way. We're real.
No,
we're raw. We're raw.
Get
Here
that
at
slap.
I think fans are going to riot if Brian Hoyer starts on Sunday over Aidan O'Connell. Pitchforks, torches,
man, possibly. I know that
cop cars over.
Well, I just don't think that Brian Hoyer instilled a lot of confidence in his play.
Yeah,
I think he had that one deep ball, and he didn't do much else. Stagnant in the red zone again. It's just
he didn't turn the ball over.
Didn't turn the ball over. That's good. He didn't turn the ball over. I think the issues that we're having with our quarterback play is that there's not a lot of juice in the offense. There's not a lot of pop in the offense, and I think that partially because of how well he played in preseason, he showed us what he could do. Honestly, and what he did in college, right? There's that, but it's also a little bit of the unknown too. It's I've already seen this. I know what I'm going to get with this. I could get something a lot better with this guy. And what I have seen of him is, he has performed well.
Yeah.
Now, on our side, on the good side, the more snaps Farva took, the better he looked, the better his timing was, the better his anticipation, the better his quickness of his release, like
his pocket presence. He stopped holding it and fumbling.
Yeah, it got much better. So I think that maybe not facing a defense that has a player like Khalil Mack, a motivated, driven Khalil Mack, right? We could maybe do something a little bit different, a little bit better. I don't think it matters that we're on the road. I think that Favre was used to playing out there in the Midwest.
Yeah,
and honestly, I think that he can help unlock, be part of the key that unlocks the offense because of his ability to look further down the field at reads and not give up on reads so quickly. There's also, doing a little bit more like, stretch zone plays, running plays instead of power plays, kind of feed into Josh Jacobs' running style, using the tight end more often. We got away from using motion, and a lot of pre-snap motion and at the snap motion and stuff like that. We got away from doing that. But if we're going to incorporate more things like that, I can see us, maybe doing a lot better. But again, it's a rookie quarterback, man, and there's a lot of things he hasn't seen yet.
It's the potential of Farva that everyone's enamored with, and understandably so, because you know what it is. We have no clue what it is, right? And I think that's what people are most intrigued about. If we were 1-5, I think the conversation would be a little different than if we're 3-3, right? Like it's 3-3, man. Like we're, depending on how this next week shakes out, we could be the 7th seed in the AFC.
Yeah.
Right? It's crazy, right? So it's like, it's no longer like, all right, we're truly building for the future. Like it's Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler coaching and GMing for their jobs. And so it's like, what's going to get me there?
Favre's not afraid to throw Davante Adams the ball when he's covered. He did it a ton of times against the Chargers. And
we'll get to that in a little bit. Regardless of who the quarterback is, it's Hunter Renfrow's not getting the ball. We know that for a fact. The guy has like 9 targets all season.
Something like that. I mean, Favre targeted him a couple times.
He's been healthy. He's been healthy all season. 6 games, active all 6 games. Hardly targeted. We asked on our poll question of the day over at YouTube. Hunter Renfrow only has 9 targets in 6 games. Who is to blame for his lack of production? Hunter Renfrow himself, the quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo, head coach and play caller Josh McDaniels. Other comment below. 72% of you windbags said it was Josh McDaniels. 18% Jimmy G. 6%. Only 6% saying Hunter Renfrow is the problem. I can see why it is this big. Because Josh McDaniels, as we've talked about, it's like, I want you to do exactly this, right? It's very little like, all right, change the play at the line. A hot route. Just throw to what's open. It's like, here's your progression. Here's what you go to. These guys each have their specific role. If it was a different scheme, I can see it being more dispersed, the blame. 72%, so 3/4 of the windbags say it's Josh McDaniels.
Yeah, I think it's just more of it's an easy target. I think he's kind of like public enemy number 1. It's really difficult to put blame on who it is when you don't know the rules of the scheme, right? Because we've seen a ton of times where he's been open and just the quarterback just didn't give him the ball. And most of the time it was Jimmy Garoppolo who didn't throw him the ball. Yeah. So it's kind of hard to say without knowing what the rules are of his progressions to say, oh, well, it's Josh McDaniels' fault when he put him in the play and the play got him open. He just wasn't getting the ball. So
was it just a clear out route? Was he told not to throw? Did Jimmy G miss it?
We don't know the rules. We don't know the rules of it. All we can go by is what we see. And what I've seen is that he has been getting open. Now let's just be honest here, okay? Jacoby Myers has a better average separation than Hunter Renfrow. So it's not like Jacoby Myers is getting the ball more just because it's Jacoby Myers. Like, he's getting open more often and more open than Hunter Renfrow has. And he has run more routes too. So that's something we need to take a look at and we need to keep in mind. But there have been times where Hunter Renfrow has been open on slower developing plays where Jimmy Garoppolo has had to look around and didn't get him the ball. So
it feels like I feel like Michael Mayer and Hunter Renfrow are kind of in the same boat, because Mayer was getting not until the last 2 games he started throwing the ball. He's been open on routes. He didn't play a lot, didn't run a lot of routes, but he was open semi-consistently and just wasn't getting the ball until I think the game plan adjusted and Josh McDaniels said, okay, here's your progression.
Need to get the Ted in the ball, right? Yeah.
And Hunter Renfrow's not getting that attention, right? Like, he's, Mayer's like, second rounder, wants to be our starter, tight end in the future. Let's get him rolling. Jacoby Myers, he's the guy I brought in. He's my guy. I want him to succeed. Davante Adams, we'll get to him in a second, but he's starting to pipe up. We got to make sure we feed him. We're giving Josh McDaniels $12 million this year. We got to make sure we feed. So it's like, I feel like it is not that Josh McDaniels is like giving the double bird to Hunter Renfrow because Hunter like slept with his daughter. I think it's more just like, I need to feed these other guys and you're not in my plans, which is stupid because he gets open and he's good. So I think the blame is in the right place. It's not like Hunter Renfrow just stopped being good.
No, it's not Hunter Renfrow's fault. I agree with that 8%. It's not his fault, or 6%, whatever it was. But again, it's hard. It's hard to come down that hard on Josh McDaniels when you don't know what the progressions are. Now, even when
you have a quarterback that's playing poorly, right? Like he's missed a game and a half, and he still leads the league in interceptions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's only played 4.5 games in a 6-game season. He still leads the league in interceptions. So it's like, it's not like Jimmy G's playing so great, right? That clearly it's on McDaniels.
Look, and I'm not sitting here, tooting the horn and backing up McDaniels blindly here. I want to have the right information for me to say something, because I've been the guy that says, you know what, he's not changing. I don't think he's the guy for us. I think we should move on, and I still stick with that until he shows me something different. I still stick with that. Offensively, we have not been good. We have not been getting better. We have not been showing any type of like a modern type of adjustments or a fluid offense. So I'll still stick with that. But I do want to be fair. If we don't know the rules of the offense, it's difficult to place the blame on someone.
So what do we do with Hunter Renfrow? Jordan Schultz of Bleacher Report said that he believes the Raiders are trying to actively trade Hunter Renfrow. And I quote, I don't think Hunter Renfrow wants to be there either. The problem is that he makes a lot of money. Really, it comes down to finding a home for him and actually having a team absorb that salary. I don't know if the Raiders would take some of that salary themselves, but as things stand right now, the reason Hunter Renfrow hasn't been traded isn't because teams don't want him. The problem is finding teams that's willing to absorb that contract, which is always the case, right? Always the case with every player with a.
I just don't think that the rest of the league values Hunter Renfrow the way we value him, because of maybe some of the things that I've talked about,
or valued him.
Well, no, I mean the Raiders fans.
Yeah,
I mean the Raider fans value him, and there's a very specific set of circumstances that led to the season that he had. And other than that, he's had some okay years, and nothing eye-popping. He does some things really well. He's very smart. We talked about his play in special teams. He's not a very good candidate for a return person, again, because of the concussion issues that he's had. So it's a little bit more limiting than we might think. I don't know that people think he's a bad player at all. I just don't think that people around the league think that he's worth the contract that he has.
I think they look at him with his shirt off and they say, yeah. Because look at the good receivers in the NFL, right? Just bricked out dudes these days. 6'3", yoked, getting the high ball. Not the high ball to drink, but And then there's...
Maybe one of those two.
Maybe one of those. And then there's Hunter Renfrow with his dad shoes and 5th grade haircut. He has the hair the 5 minutes after picture day in 5th grade. Your mom does your hair and you're like, no, fine, I'll take it for the photo. And you just scrunch it up and go to homeroom. You just look at that and there's no, that's not an NFL wide receiver. He can't ball.
It's again, it's tough to say, but honestly, the league, if you want to believe that he's been on the trade block this entire season, if that's what I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong, but if that's what you believe, you have to take a look at the fact that he has not been traded, and it shows you what the rest of the NFL thinks about Hunter Renfrow.
It feels like not a matter of if, but a matter of when, with how little he's playing and how big that contract is. It just seems like, what's the point of having him here when he's not getting any play? So, you never want to root for injuries in this league, but you're kind of hoping that, someone with with Super Bowl aspirations loses a wide receiver between now and Halloween. Trade deadline's October 31st. You're kind of
the Eagles signed a washed-up 34-year-old Julio Jones with a hamstring that's held together with freaking Scotch tape.
Yeah, well, they paid half a pizza and a 40.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. It's about the value. It's not about the how good the person is. So I just don't think that people around the league feel that he's worth $15 million.
We do have confirmation. We do have a photo.
Oh, yeah?
Dr. Dre. Can you see it?
I do see it.
Right. He's literally right in front of her. Right.
No.
I'm going to say that my wife is having dinner with Dr. Dre right now.
I mean, she's not having dinner with Dr. Dre.
Yeah. What's up with her dinner guests drinking water? Was she taking out the Mormon Tabernacle Choir?
Maybe there's a scotch on the other side of that water.
I hope so. Maybe that's just a giant vodka soda, no ice. Just straight to the top.
Vodka soda.
Well, that's one wide receiver. He's clearly not happy. Another wide receiver doesn't sound all too happy either. Here's Davante Adams at a presser earlier this week.
Progress, obviously, I'm continue to work through it. I'm a human being, and I have extremely high standards for myself and this offense. So, to me, it's not just about, I'm sure people thinking they won the game, they won the Packers game, why is there an issue? When you see why it's an issue, y'all should know who I am, know what I'm about at this point. So it's not about, when you're a player like me, mentally, my benchmark is not wins and losses, it's greatness. So when I go out there, I expect to be able to have that ability to put that on tape and have an influence on the game. And that's, like I say every week, that's my purpose for being here. I'm not here just to hang out and, like I said, come here to hang out with Derek and all of that stuff from last year. Came here to win and to do it the right way. So if it don't look like it's supposed to look, then I'm gonna be frustrated if I'm not a part of that plan, because that's, I have the opportunity to go and to change that and make it look like a much better pitcher out there. If that doesn't happen, I'm gonna be frustrated. You know, if Jacoby goes out and have a monster game, or if the offense is scoring every 5 plays, like our first drive on the Bills, then it is what it is. It's not about me, but I'm one of the bigger pieces, as to why this offense is going to go. And if I'm not getting it, then it's obviously not according to plans.
So Davante Adams, after the game on Sunday, left without showering, without talking to me. He just bolted after a win.
That's a taxable offense. When I played, if you didn't shower before you left, that's a taxable offense the next day. The next
you left stinky, right?
Oof,
Like, all right,
no
I'm doing hobo shower at the AM PM on the way back. Just a little water in the pits in the bathroom, a little extra cologne. He was so mad he did that. This is Davante Adams the week after a win. The week after the Raiders got back to 500, right? 3-3, 1. And this is his attitude. And in some ways, understandably so. He had back-to-back tiny games, one of them going again, which should have been a revenge game against the Green Bay Packers. He won, but he was borderline invisible. He's said things before. And Davante Adams is very even keel, very smart guy, keeps his emotions in check, but he's passionate. He's passionate, but he keeps them in check. This is the most, unhinged is the wrong word, but it's the closest thing to unhinged as Davante gets. He is genuinely upset. And this is the most upset I've seen him in a long time, or maybe ever as a Raider. We've heard him speak up before, like, oh, this isn't acceptable. I want to win. I want to do this and this. He hasn't brought it to this level yet, Soto. It's starting to get to him.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. I think it's hard. Again, it's the same thing. It's hard to say who he's more upset with, because I don't know that anything's really changed from the beginning of the year when he was getting a lot of targets, right?
Yeah.
I think it's more so whoever's throwing him the ball doesn't have the confidence to throw into double coverage.
Because on the season, he's still doing all right? 59 targets.
He's having a good year. 59
targets. That's tied for 6th in the NFL. He's been targeted 30.9% of the Raiders' pass attempts. That's 5th in the NFL. He has 39 catches, 9th in the NFL. I mean, his numbers are top 10 in almost everything, but it's Davante Adams. He should be top 3, number 1 in everything.
I mean, it's top 10 in everything, having a very, very, very slow 2 weeks. So basically a third of his season has been almost nothing, and he's still top 10. So it's not like he hasn't been used previously. I think the last couple of teams were like, we're not going to let Davante beat us. And the quarterback didn't have the trust or the huevos to throw him the ball, even though he's covered. Now it's a little bit. It's almost like he's talking about both sides of this, where he's talking about it's about the win, and then it's about it's not about wins and losses, but I understand what he's trying to say, but I think he kind of gave a little bit of a mixed message. I do, and I want to think that if this offense was humming and he wasn't being used as much, I think he'd still be okay with it. But I think he'd still be irritated, even if the offense was doing well. I think he'd still be a little irritated.
Well, look, you are what your record says you are, and we are 3-3. And if we end up 10-7, it's not going to matter how many terrible quarterbacks we play, what the point differential was, all that stuff. But it does matter now when you're looking towards the future. You can't. We're 3-3, which is great, but nobody in Raider Nation can say we got everything figured out. Let's just stick to what we're doing, and we're gonna do good things. No one, right? Offense, defense, nobody, especially Davante Adams. Our point differential is like 24th in the league, which is crazy considering we're still 3-3, right? Like there needs to be drastic changes for us to be able to.
We've already played some bad teams, man.
Right?
I mean, 5 bad teams out of 6 games.
Look at the quarterbacks that we're going to end up playing in like 5 of the 6. We've
played 5 bad teams, guys. Right? We've only played one good team, and they freaking stomped our freaking booty holes in.
And so I understand Davante Adams' frustration is, I think, rational. It's, we won, which is why he's not losing his mind. But it's like we barely got over 21 because Max Crosby got us a sack. I haven't gotten any looks in 2 games, barely any looks in 2 games. My big question is, he didn't say it, but I started to feel, because all his other times he vented his frustration, it was just like, it was almost like a therapy session for him.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm just upset. Like, I still believe in my guys. I just wish we could do better. This time, there was a little bit of an aura of, or else. I want this and this. We got to do this and this. And he didn't say or else. And if I'm overanalyzing this, Soto, tell me. But I felt for the very first time, there was a little bit of a hint, a flavor, a salt bay of needs to be fixed or else.
I don't know that Davante's an or else type of guy. I think he'll just tell you and then he'll be done. That's how it was with the Packers. He says, don't screw with me. Okay. Don't screw with me. Do right by me. They screwed him over and he was done.
Well, that's the or else. That's the or else.
There was no or else. It's like, just don't screw with me. Do right by me. There was no or else.
Well,
that's
it is because the or else was don't give me a crappy deal or I'm bouncing. And he did.
Again,
he's a man of action. He's a man of action. He's not going to say something and just wait for you to make his wishes come true. It's like, if something's not happening, I'm going to do something on my end. And I have no idea what that or else is. Is that or else I'm going to have a talking to with Josh McDaniels? Is that or else I'm going to go talk to Mark Davis? Is that or else I'm going to publicly lobby for Aidan O'Connell or whatever, right?
I don't agree with the whole or else thing. I don't agree with that because it's almost like giving them a choice, and he's not giving them a choice. Hey, I need the ball more. Period. Point blank.
Okay,
done.
There's said that, else. But he said that multiple times before, and then he hasn't gotten the ball. Doesn't this feel different? Where you're saying, "All right, it's a little more heated now." I mean that. I mean this, guys. It's like when you're talking to your toddler. It's like, eat your vegetables. Mm-hmm. No. Eat your vegetables. No. Eat your vegetables, or you're going in timeout. Like, at some point, there was a reaction to the lack of action by the Raiders. Right? Is that fair?
Well, yeah, and I think when it comes to that point, he'll vocalize that. He'll vocalize the or else. Maybe not exactly what it is.
And that's why I think this is like a preemptive hint at an or else. The salt bay of or else.
I think he's very Cliff like, where he's like this and then boom, done, drops off.
You're talking about Heathcliff and he hates Mondays and loves lasagna.
Oh, that's a good cartoon. Or Cliff Clavin.
Clifford. Ian Davante, kind of the same thing.
Something like that. But look, ultimately, there needs to be a meeting in the quarterback room between Davante Adams, the quarterback coach, the offensive coordinator, and Josh McDaniels. Guys, I'm the best receiver in the entire NFL because that's what he believes. That's what he thinks. That's what he knows to be true. You not giving me the ball and us scoring under 20 points per game does not make any sense. So you have to give me the ball.
They need to go on an ayahuasca trip and not come back till there's an understanding. You start with a bottle of Jameson and a bro down. If that doesn't work, you have Davante call his buddy Aaron Rodgers. It's like, hey, send me some plants. I got to fix this. Stop me if you've heard this before. Chandler Jones got arrested.
Jesus.
Again. On Tuesday. Second time in a month, according to police reports and court records. He was a Tuesday on charge of violating a domestic violence order. If you get arrested 3 times for the same crime, do you get like a set of steak knives? Do you get like your name up at Las Vegas Metro Police Department? How does he keep making the same mistake over?
It's not a mistake
and over again
because it's not a mistake. It's not a mistake. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing the first time. That's why he went when no one was home. So he just, I don't know. I got too many other things to worry about than somebody who's refusing help. So
I wonder if this keeps up, does it help our chances for getting any of that money back? If he just like
football heading
royally screws up, royally. What again though? Like there could be terms of the contract that are.
If there were terms of that contract, that would have been like triggered by now.
No way, dude. The legal process for those parts to be worked out, those take forever because that's going to be lobbied against. There's going to be hearings. It's not like an immediate, like, I don't know, like a franchise tag or something where it's like, boom. It's like, all right, you've done something detrimental to the team, detrimental to the league, broke our morality code. Like, those are such gray areas where that's going to be litigation, man. I guess if there's one silver line in all this like him continually screwing up.
I mean, if you want to call like accusing the owner of like pimping and your head coach of molestation and rape and and murder and getting arrested twice for domestic violence related offenses, like if you call that gray area, I mean, all right.
Yeah, and
that's not very great to me.
And his defense attorney will, right? Like he absolutely will. Like they'll
this
tell
is not
you
a court of law. It's not a court of law. This is the NFL. It's their rules.
It'll be through hearings. It'll still be in litigation. Like it'll be. I'm saying I think there's enough gray area where this thing could drag on. Hopefully, the crazier he gets, the faster it goes. Well, one guy who also isn't going to be on the team, but one guy who will be on the team, Tyler Hall. Up from the practice squad to the active roster. That's because Roderick Teamer is going on injured reserve. Tyler Hall's been a guy that's been able to just kind of like not wow anybody, but hang around through effort. I like him on the active roster. I don't feel like obviously losing Teamer's worse than gaining Hall, but this is more laterally of a move to me than terrible, especially with Nate Hobbs still out.
Mm-hmm. I just I like him. I think he's a gritty player. I think he can help on special teams. I don't think he's lost in coverage. I think he can, he's a fighter. So I think it's something that can be good for us. He's a guy that gets in your face. He's not afraid to challenge receivers. So, there's a reason why they signed him.
He'll probably get a lot of action at slot with Nate Hobbs about to miss his 4th week. So we'll see. I know you've seen this girl. We've all seen this girl.
I said it from the very beginning. I said it from the very beginning. She's a paid actress because there is nobody who likes the Chargers that much.
Well, look, I mean, the evidence is starting to pile up, right? Like, that's a brand new jersey. That was bought in the stadium that day, right? She doesn't know how to behave at a normal football game. Like, this is rare that she goes to football games. And it's LA.
Yeah,
aspiring actresses, they're a dime a dozen. And like part of this, when she's like, there's one point where she's like, get him. And the Chargers were on offense. It's like, is she a Swiftie? Like, who's she saying get him to when you have the ball?
I stand by my original statement. Nobody likes the Chargers that much.
Well, and then there's this. Oh, look. She was a diehard Vikings fan 45 minutes ago, and now she's a diehard Chargers fan.
I mean, people are trying to say, well, her son plays for a team that's called the Vikings, and that's her supporting her son. And I don't believe any of it. I think it's all just a bunch of BS.
She needs to be treated as a spy. A very wise man once told me, any girl that knows too much about sports, like if a girl can name like offensive linemen in the NFL, they should be treated as a spy. Because girls that know too much about sports, they doing that on purpose to try to get in. It's like, oh, I want to get a man, but I'm doing it through sports. And that's
there's something else lurking underneath.
Yeah, like that's not normal. It's not a natural move. She's like, oh, I'm gonna be prettier. I'm gonna cook well. I'm gonna be super nice. I'm gonna just be a great companion. But like, all right, I'm gonna know every single guard in the history of the Chicago Bears. It's like, okay, I look into your eyes and I see darkness. Let this be a lesson to all you windbags out there. If you meet a girl that knows way too much about sports,
or she's a dude,
she's either a dude or she should be treated as a spy.
100%.
She's there doing recon. That is not genuine. And joining us now, very dear friend of the show. He's been on before, and it's a no-brainer when it's Bears week that he comes on. He is a longtime Las Vegas radio host and a lifelong Chicago Bears fan. And, anything else you want to talk sports, he's got you. Anything beer, or food-related.
Bitches.
Guy that we go to.
Get the 3 B's.
Bitches,
But we'll do it with their triple B's.
blunts.
Big
Blunt.
Mac.
Just saying,
Brian
I'm in a legal
McKinnell.
state. You're in a legal state.
Whatever.
We're all in a legal state.
We're all good.
Legalize it everywhere. We're getting there. Montana's
B.
got, when Montana has medical marijuana, I think they went rec. Montana. And I mean, it's kind of like an independent state, but I'm just saying a lot of cowboys up there, a lot of, white folks. And
Cowboys
they're seeing the light.
Cowboys
Dude.
love their weed, man.
How are you going
that's
to catch
what
anybody in
It's a
Montana?
weird.
Everyone's
It's
so spread
breaks
apart. You can't
stereotypes.
catch anybody up there.
Yeah, it's like you just grow it in your backyard. Your neighbor's 100 miles away. Like,
And
who's going to
escape,
stop you?
and escape via horse if any of the cops try to chase you. Yeah.
Exactly.
Cowboys and marijuana go together like cowboys and cocaine. That's a terrible. I got nothing.
And it's
I
like,
got
well, like,
nothing.
and
All
every county
drugs.
sheriff is like your cousin. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like the law is different around there. So it's
Everybody's your cousin
what are you
over
who's
there.
going to stop me from growing and smoking some ganj?
Yes.
It started off rough for us Raider fans, and it got even worse for the Bears fans. I mean, it's been brutal this season, dude. And I remember how happy you were last season. Like, all right, we lost, whatever, but we have our quarterback and we have the number 1 overall pick. Things are looking up in Chicago. Bear Nation's happy, and I don't know if the rebuild takes another year. Maybe you need a first and second round pick this season to turn things around. I don't know. What how you feeling?
How am I feeling? That's just, you're such a dick for setting it up
Describe your
that way.
emotions. I don't know. how
Yeah,
else
I
to
mean,
start it.
you
I don't know how else to start it. Hey, remember that one time you guys won?
remember that time your parents died in a plane crash? That was really traumatic, wasn't
That
it?
fiery incident?
They didn't. Half of my parents are alive. But
Both
it is,
parents are alive, but only half their bodies.
yeah.
One arm and
They
one
actually
leg of each
fused them.
parent.
They
not-
fused them together,
Yeah.
and now they're like Master Blaster. Listen, it's horrible, bro.
Sweet pool.
It's god awful because it's not just last year to this year, right? Which you do remind me of that, and I probably said that because I felt that way, and now I know how I feel now.
I mean, genuinely,
Yeah.
like you're in week 13,
He's
right? You're
breaking
not making the
records. He's
playoffs.
rushing everywhere. Justin,
You're not making the
Fields.
playoffs. Let's
Yeah.
get the number one overall. Get a king's ransom for it, which you did.
Mhm.
You had
Yeah.
huge faith in Justin Fields. A lot of Bears fans did.
DJ
That's-
Moore,
DJ. Like,
Cole
you-
Kmet
right.
coming into his own. Good offensive line. Good running game. Questionable defense. Whatever.
You're like,
Had
okay,
everything.
There's
Yeah.
plenty of stuff to build on.
Yeah.
And
Alex Leatherwood. All that.
Yeah.
that's the disease. That was what started the problems.
Yeah.
Patient zero
It
for
was
the Bears.
the
Everything was
poisoning
going
of
up.
the proverbial well.
Yeah, you got to get a melon baller and
He
scoop
jumped
that
out of the
sucker out.
Wuhan lab into Chicago and destroyed the Bears.
Yeah, no, it's all of those things, right? And it's Mitch Trubisky, and it's Jay Cutler, and it's Cade McNown. And it's just and I don't remember 1985, man. I was 2 years old. I'm 40 now. This is fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Sorry. I think we can cuss. I feel like we can cuss.
Where, Jar?
We can't. You can. We have a swear
Okay.
jar.
We
All right.
can't.
I'm a bad boy. I've
We
been
got
banned on
spread
Call
that
of
going
Duty.
here,
I'm on a Call of Duty chat ban right now for like 6 weeks, man. Apparently you can't say fuck your mother or suck my dick. Apparently you can't say that stuff anymore. I don't know when that
What?
became like offensive.
Are, we
Are
even
you
in America
playing-
anymore?
All right, I'm going to say, are you playing in China?
Yeah.
Are you playing in
Thanks.
a communist regime?
Yeah.
What's the point of doing Call of Duty if you can't say the absolute worst possible things to
Well,
strangers?
No,
over
hold
the
on.
internet?
Absolute worst would be hate speech. I'm not I don't hate people. I just an occasional fuck your mother is well deserved in the confines of a Call of Duty lobby. Anyway,
Yeah.
It's beside the point, right? Like I'm relatively okay. But when we talk about the Bears, I become unokay. I become not well. I become mentally ill, right? This is a stupid hat. I'm only wearing it to take the shine off the camera. It makes me angry just seeing
The
that I'm
shine's
wearing
already off
Bears
the
stuff.
Bears.
It makes me angry that I
Oof.
keep believing in this team year after 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 year and finding reasons, right, to believe in them. Oh, well, their running game is this, and they got Lance Briggs and Charles Tillman and Brian Urlacher, and they made the NFC Championship. Well, then Lovie Smith turns around and has a 10-6 season, and they fire him off of it. And that's the real curse. It wasn't Alex Leatherwood. It was saying goodbye to Lovie Smith when you are a shit organization. And he just had a 10-6 season, a Super Bowl, and an NFC championship, and you said goodbye. The Bears have been struggling, floundering, barely above water that entire time. And they've shown glimpses, they've shown hope and whatever, but then it just when you just it's that old Godfather 3.
You've had you've had enough playoff appearances and some. How many playoff wins have you had since the Super Bowl? I mean, you've had multiple seasons where you got some depth, right?
We had the double doink against Philly that ended our season a few years ago. That was the most recent, and then there was the BJ Raji hula dance in the NFC Championship.
Yeah,
I mean, to get to the
NFC, you're talking to Raiders fans, so
yeah, no, it's horrible. Like this meeting,
2010s.
I mean, that's what it's been like, right? Like, oh, the Bears and the Broncos. Oh my God, who's going to watch that? Bears and the Commanders. Oh my God, who's going to watch that? Now we get to meet the West and the Midwest come together for an absolute shit show. Both of these franchises are god awful.
Which is so unique because they're such storied franchises that you would assume a storied franchise means a stable franchise. Like stable franchises have off years, like the Steelers, right? They're like, oh, Tomlin hasn't never had a losing season, blah blah blah, right? It's like, okay,
Patriots,
right? I mean, now, right, the exception to the rule. But when you think of like a storied franchise, you think, okay, a well-run organization, maybe they have to rebuild every now and then, but generally consistent because it's a storied franchise. Raiders and Bears just spit in the face of that. Like one of the most storied teams in the AFC, one of the most storied teams in the NFC, and it's just been decades of ineptitude.
And it's a leadership problem on both accounts. I think when you talk about the Raiders, it's it's very similar. It's ownership, right? It's a lack of, in the case of the Bears, to spend money and truly invest in the right pieces, right? Moving the chessboard around far too frequently. They did it with Cutler having like 5 offensive coordinators. They're doing the same thing with Fields. They continue to do the same thing. Like you cannot have here's the thing with specifically the Bears. Now the Raiders have their own set of problems. I live in Las Vegas. I've been here 17 years. I covered the birth of the team and I still, quasi cover them today. It has not been a great tenure. I mean, there's COVID on top of all the controversies. It's just been on lack of winning, just the whole Derek Carr stuff. It's just been kind of a lot of drama here for a team that really hasn't yielded much results. I know their value went up, right? They're worth more now that we got the public.
They're making money hand over fist. They just can't buy a win.
But with the Bears, I think it's, curses. I'm not going to use that. I'm not ridiculous. I mean, I'm hyperbolic, but I'm not ridiculous. I think, but anytime, and we've seen this with this team, that they go against what has made, and this isn't a small track record. This is 100+ years of football history, right? George Halas, Red Grange, Bobby Douglas, Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, Fridge, list goes on, right? Been around forever. And there's two things that win in Chicago, and it's always been that way, right? Two things, rushing and defense. And I don't know how that plays into the future of the NFL and if that is even a thing that can possibly happen. But every time they try to branch out and try something new or whatever the case may be, they just go against their own nature. You're not a part of this new NFL. So you need to set some trends and do it your own way and win your own way. Because the Jalen Hurts thing, the Patrick Mahomes thing, even the Justin Herbert thing, whatever you want to, like the stuff that the Joe Burrow, whatever's happening in that situation. Because I'm going to tell you what, I don't think Caleb Williams is it. Soto, we can talk about that. I'm not saying he's not it for another team. He will get absolutely shredded in Chicago. Someone asked me on Twitter a couple weeks ago, it was after we lost to the Chiefs, what could have been, and they send a meme of Patrick Mahomes sitting next to the Bears on draft day, like 16 other teams, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, where do you think Mahomes would be if he got drafted by the Bears? And I said, he'd be selling insurance right now. Like,
you want to have Andy Reid.
It's
you wouldn't have Andy Reid.
It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot. It takes a lot, man. It takes a lot, and it like you said, it's a top-down thing. Like we were talking about this last weekend with the Raiders, and I was talking about Mark Davis and how his leadership style and McDaniel's leadership style is very similar, where they have a plan, but they don't really have a backup plan or an adjustment. They don't really adjust very well. They kind of stick to that same plan moving forward. And
what makes you believe that Josh McDaniels has a plan? Because I am not an insider with that team. I am very much a hater of that culture. Like I very much appreciated Tom Brady, but everything that came out of Belichick and specifically McDaniels in his youth, and he was this golden child, and he's had opportunity after opportunity. He hasn't done shit with it. You know what I mean? He doesn't strike me as a particularly fun guy. Like, I don't think I'd share a beer with McDaniels. Not that that means anything. You know, I feel like I can hang out with Lovie Smith. I mean, there's people out there that you're like, you know what? I'd go want to win for that guy. What about Josh McDaniels says I want to go and win for that guy? Well, I'm just genuinely curious. What's the word?
What I mean, what his having a plan is, normally offensively, we're very successful early in games. Like, his script is very successful, but he doesn't adjust very well when the defense adjusts to him.
Gotcha.
And that's my big thing with him is he doesn't have, because I mean, I heard Peyton Manning say this, that the notion of a halftime adjustments, it's overblown, because you got to practice this stuff. You got to put it in the game plan, and you can use stuff that you've used before, but it has to be stuff that's already in your offense, you know? So I don't know how much forward thinking Josh McDaniels is to say, okay, this is what I want to do. This is what defense can do against me. So I want to do this to give him a different look.
It's not that Josh McDaniels doesn't have a plan. It's that all he has is a plan and nothing else.
And that's all fair.
Here's my plan. I'm not going to motivate. I'm not going to deviate. I'm not going to like adjust for my talent. It's just like, this is what I do and nothing else.
What's Sean Payton without Drew Brees?
No,
What's Bill Belichick without Tom Brady? What are any of these coaches without their very best generational super? Because that's what we're talking about. When you talk about generational coaches, they always have a generational talent, and not just Drew Brees. If Peyton Manning, right, and maybe Aaron Rodgers don't exist, and Tom Brady, like, he's the greatest quarterback of all time. We just watched like the 4 or 5 greatest quarterbacks of all time just retire in like the last 5-10 years. Like, they were that good. And the records all prove that, right? But their coaches, Mike McCarthy, Sean Payton, Josh McDaniels to an extent. Now, Belichick, I want to be careful there, because the Giants, I mean, you talk about a lifelong coach. When you say, why would you play for him? I see that with Belichick. But as far as McDaniels,
Tom Brady didn't make Belichick's defense amazing for 20 years. Tom Brady didn't make Belichick's defenses amazing for 20 years, right? So like, there's something there. But it's always the same thing, right? There's been no winning culture, no dynasty in NFL history that didn't have a quality owner, head coach, quarterback. Yeah. That's right. It's those.
I mean, what's more impressive? All of Belichick's Super Bowls with Brady, or Joe Gibbs 3 Super Bowls with 3 different quarterbacks?
Yeah, and that's great. That's a great question, right? Because what was it? Doug Williams, Mark Rippon, and Theismann,
right?
Yeah. I mean, that's an eclectic group, right? Specifically Rippon. I think Rippon won the Super Bowl MVP off of that. That was right. That's one of my first Super Bowl memories.
Why didn't he have 4? Why don't they have 4 Super Bowls, Soda?
Oh, well.
I don't know. Silver and Black, wild into town. Took care of business.
Marcus Allen?
Yeah.
That's when the team was about to beat up Pete Rozelle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's why I always hold a soft spot for the Raiders. And I think so many people do, right? It's like, yeah, I'm not a Raiders fan, even living here in Las Vegas. I'm a Bears fan. I'll always be a Bears fan. But Al Davis and just being for the worker, because and not all the time, right? It's been plenty of contract issues and stadium stuff and all that. Like, loyalty can kind of get brought into question through that lens. But what you can't deny is that when people attacked his players, when he felt attacked, if he felt some sort of connection, he would go balls to the wall, throw up 2 double birds and burn the house down. Like, I mean, he's one of the greatest owners of all time. You know what I mean? In terms of just what he did for black athletes. Like, so yeah, you're far, far away from that. And the Bears are far, far away from 1985. And here's the scary thing. We just keep seeming to drift further and further. Like Mitch Trubisky, what we traded up and what we gave away to get that, right? Khalil Mack, what we traded away and gave up to get that, which you then squandered, right? What we gave up.
We don't want to talk about. We don't like talking about.
Well,
that.
It doesn't even matter. It's almost poetic in that sense, right? I mean, what that way, like, it didn't work out for either of us.
Yeah, we both got worse because of it.
Who won the trade? Khalil. No one else.
Khalil got paid. I mean, Matt got paid. That's about it.
You need a trash drop, crumpling up paper and throwing in the.
Because your heart's not tied to the Raiders, you have your finger on the pulse more or less being in Las Vegas. Are Raiders fans delusional when they say that the NFL is against us specifically? Like Roger Goodell and then traditionally owners have a very, very specific grudge or axe to grind with the Raiders. Are we crazy, or do you see that as well?
I think you're crazy.
Okay.
And I'll try to make sense of it this way. I understand why you're crazy. I understand mental illness. But I think it goes more to, and it's a nice segue from Al Davis, because I think it's the paranoia of growing up under Al Davis and when it actually did happen. Yeah. Right? Because I do think Tagliabue, I do think Rozelle, I do think there are times throughout history where like, that's, or the emails just, I mean, but I don't know how, listen.
Of 750,000 emails, only 3 of them came out, and they were all John Gruden's? Okay.
Yeah, it's questionable, right?
It's even before that.
Here's what
like, wait a second, guys. Yeah. You want money for a stadium? No, we want to do that. Wait, Minnesota, you want money for a stadium? Have it all.
Yeah.
Take it. Like, whoa, what, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So
there is a track record, right?
Than that.
I don't think there's any question, right, that like the Raiders are the redheaded stepchild of the NFL because of the brand and what goes along with it. Yeah. Everything that comes with that, you know what I mean, and I don't need to elaborate on it. And it's unfortunate, right? Because when I think of the Raiders, I think of Al Davis and his pimp suits and his ego and his narcissism, and I think of Jack Tatum. I think of Ronnie. I think of Bo Jackson. I mean, out of everybody. I grew up during the late '80s, early '90s, and Bo. I remember the day he got injured. But my point is when I say I don't think they're necessarily out to get you. I don't think the NFL is in the business of ruining any of their franchises. The Raiders are one of the most valuable franchises to the NFL. They just are.
Not ruining, but no money for you Raiders, yes money to Vikings, things like that.
But why hurt a money train that is just careening in just unstoppable momentum?
It's not hurting the money. It's not hurting the money.
The thing is, they're still making money despite
all this losing and all this pain and all that.
No, because away fans
said that. Did that hurt the Cubs?
Away fans
hurt the Cubs of 100. Yeah.
Away fans will just keep buying tickets in Vegas. The more they lose, the higher the price, because then Raider fans don't sell them. Like if we're winning, right? Like, and that's the thing. Raiders fans got a bad rap in Las Vegas, but it's like when the games semi matter, when it's Chargers Raiders week 17 with a shot at the playoffs, that was a vibrant home field advantage. When we're kicked out of the playoffs by Halloween. Yeah, sorry. I have a mortgage to pay.
Niners Chiefs last year.
And these Steelers fans want to pay me 3-time face value for my ticket. Like, absolutely sell that. Absolutely sell that.
I can make my money back in one game for my entire season of tickets. Sweet. I'll do that.
Yeah. And I mean, you've probably only had, because of that, 5 actual home field advantages when playing in Vegas.
We've had home field advantage one time this season. And it was in Los Angeles against the Chargers. That was the one time we had over 50% Raider fans in a stadium.
Isn't that so weird?
In Los Angeles. And even the home opener, night primetime game, it was like 60% Steelers.
Yeah.
We're only going to have 2 when we play the Chargers twice a year. That's when we're going to have a guaranteed home field advantage twice.
That's another team that's just in terms of culture. But yeah, no, it's the meeting is just so poetic. We've met each other a lot these last 5 years. 3 games, 4 games, whatever it is. It's been interesting, and it's been interesting with you guys to constantly check back in and kind of you do that history of last year and how excited I was, because I was. RJ, I was excited. I genuinely thought we were riding the ship.
We were texting week 18. What do you think you're going to get for the picks? What I
knew I would get a
Justin Fields one season better,
and it was better. It was better than I thought. We got more of a return, and we still have it, next season to look at that. But again, it's Caleb Williams, and the other QB they're talking about is the QB. I can't remember his name, out of North Carolina.
Drake May.
I swear to God. If the Bears draft another quarterback out of North Carolina, I'm going to lose my. That was Mitch Trubisky, and my whole thing was you wasted a blue chip pick on a guy who played at a basketball school. Due respect, North Carolina has gotten a lot better, but the North Carolina teams that Trubisky played on, they were not good. It's just
do you draft a quarterback?
Damaged human being.
Do you draft a quarterback or just moving on?
I think Justin Fields is done in Chicago. I just think there's too much noise. I think there's too much dysfunction. I don't know if they ever truly believed in him. There's too many jobs on the line. Ryan Poles, GM, his job's on the line. He's going to need to do something drastic aside from sticking with Fields. I don't think sticking with Fields is going to extend your contract, and that's all that you should be thinking about right now.
Think about the haul you can get, though, with Caleb and Drake, 1 and 2, and the haul you could get for those two picks.
What can you? I don't know what you can get. What can you get more that we've already gotten? Like
3 first-rounders and like a Pro Bowl end for both.
Sure. Where's our quarterback? We're not winning.
Throw a million first-rounders at the problem.
I don't know where the winning starts. Right, winning starts
with 6 first-rounders. I mean, that's a good place.
Between the Bears and the Raiders, how many first-round picks and second-round picks and top picks do you think that we've had in the last 15 years? And what the fuck have they done?
That's why you just go with the Belichick model. Just do it in
the
volume.
Hard part is the hard part to swallow is, it wasn't like people were like, "Oh, I'm surprised that one didn't work out."
Right.
It was like it's a head scratcher from the beginning.
Mitch Trubisky, the name Trubisky. I heard it and I was like, "Who the fuck is that? And why is he my quarterback?"
He does sound Chicago.
It sounds like a failure. Chicago. It sounds like the super fans sitting around the table with Farley and the dude from Cheers, and they're like, "Trubisky,
Stop Bears,
stop Bears." They go.
Trubisky's gonna throw for 7 touchdowns.
Yeah, exactly. It's a freaking joke, you guys. I'm losing my mind. Oh my god.
At least I know it's not just us.
Oh, now that's the sad thing about this. Normally we should meet and have some sort of like competitive rivalry. RJ and I made a bet last year, right? Like we should have this competitive spirit inside us to want to see the other sad, but that's not how we meet here on October, mid-October in 2023. That's not how we're meeting. We're meeting as sad pandas. We're just all sad across the Zoom, and we're just wallowing in each other's just misery.
Us Raiders are on a 2-game winning streak, and we are 500, which is
and you seem ecstatic about it. Yeah,
that's bragging for us in October, right?
Yeah. Good luck.
We still got to do a bet. We still got to do some kind of bet.
First of all, the last bet we did,
only 3-point favorites.
The last bet we did, I won, and we didn't, and there was no follow through on that. So you still owe me from that bet.
No.
I emailed or texted you, when are we going to do it? And then you did not respond. So that's
I did.
We
did it, and then SiriusXM nixed it. Do you remember what I had you do? It was during the John Gruden racist email scandal, and I wrote a script for you to read that said, "Hey, this is RJ Clifford from SiriusXM," and I don't see what the big deal is about John Gruden in these emails. If I had a nickel for every time I sent a racist email, I'd have 35 cents. And I just went through this whole paragraph of you just like admitting to be a raging racist, and Kelly was like, "Yeah, no, he can't say this." I'm like, "But that's
not a Welch because I wanted to." And Kelly,
I know you did. You were all in. You were like, "This is great."
I fought hard to do it. Like I'd rather be viewed as a racist than as a Welcher. I think being a Welcher is one of the worst things you can be as a human being. Racist is really close. Welcher's number 1.
No one was gonna actually think that was
quiet on all this.
Yeah.
And come on. It was clearly like a script I was reading losing a bet. Who's going to be like, "Oh, it's cancel RJ because he lost a bet."
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, we would have been.
This is the radio station that has Howard Stern. Like,
Howard
RJ can write a Sibian. That's
Howard
fine.
Stern is not the same anymore. This is a different Howard Stern.
There's a lot of equity there, though. Yeah. Like we can still ride that wave of,
I could sit on a Sibian and I can keep my job. But if I read a script tongue in cheek, no, it's too much.
And if I had a nickel for every time I sent a racist email, I'd have 35 cents. Like, I'm sorry, that's fucking funny. It's just very specific. You know what I mean? It's 7 racist emails. Add up 730. Yeah. Anyway. Got it.
New math.
I don't feel. I mean, we can, but it's going to be very small. It'll be like a singular drink at Ellis Island.
No, let's just do the same thing we did last year, but just let it be arable. Just no,
I won last year, and I still want mine. So we can start like a tab, and you
take that up with Kelly. Take that up with the producer. I showed up.
Kelly has nothing to do with this.
She's the one that nixed it. Of course, she had everything to do with it. Our producer.
Listen, we can make a bet, but I'm not fulfilling my end of the bet until you fulfill your end of the bet from last year.
Fair.
So yes,
that's fair.
I fulfilled my end of the bet. I showed up willing and able.
We're not doing that. No, then I don't agree to bet you this year.
And then the referee called it early. It was an early stoppage.
No, not getting doped into this. No way.
All right. Let's see.
I agree with Big Mac on this.
Shocking.
It has to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
There's no attempt. You don't get paid for the attempt.
Yeah.
You get paid for completion.
Yeah. It was a
All the way to
block. It was a
completion.
stoppage. It was a brief stoppage. Then we restart the action. It was a nut shot.
Technically,
was a nut shot.
sometimes you do pay and don't get the completion because you pay first. So
You would know.
technically, the rules apply my way.
Soto goes, oh man.
Freaking cops over and freaking flashing the light in the window. Like, wait a second, man.
Clearly, it was a lady cop. She doesn't understand.
I hear the Homer Simpson scream with the tongue out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
His name's Ryan McKinnell. Make sure you follow him on the Twitter machine at
Or don't.
Ryan McKinnell.
Yeah,
or don't do it. Don't. If you care about listening to someone complain about you want to hear just pure emotional vitriol during any Raider game. Let's say from 10 a.m. to 1:13 ish this Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Coming up. That's what you want to hear. Big Mac, always a pleasure, buddy.
Man, I like it. I wish it was under better circumstances, but we can heal together. And Soto, it was awesome seeing you, man. RJ, I'll see you soon. And yeah, Autumn Windbags Nation out there, I appreciate you letting me hang out with you for a brief moment. And good luck this weekend, man. I don't know who needs it more.
You ready to do some What a Windbags?
Yes, sir.
Top 3 entertainment. My dad's name is Dick. Richard. I'll let him know it's a bad word. I want to make sure that was in there because I do now remember.
Baby.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm saying I do now remember. I think we shouldn't have, but I do remember agreeing to it. And my word is my bond. I am not a welcher.
I just think that you were just getting a little bit too excited about it, and then you wanted to know where the line was, and I had to tell you where the line was. That's all.
I disagree that should be the line, but I do acknowledge that I agreed to these terms.
You acknowledge that there needs to be a line, right?
There needs to be a line, and I don't feel like D is there. I feel like D is very.
We just had to put it there. We had to put it somewhere.
But then if D is one, then I feel like ass should be one.
I don't know, man.
Dick is way more. It's way more graphic.
You see a lot of asses at the beach. How many D's do you see at the beach?
Not enough. Let me tell you. Derek Harris, 1848. Explain, all caps. So basically he was saying like this. Explain why we didn't keep Jarrett Stidham and got Garoppolo. He knows the system with an arm too. Really think about it. Never forget. CJ Stroud all but said he wanted to be a Raider and throw to Tay. Josh McDaniels and Zeal were rude to him. They could have traded up, etc. And Derek Harris actually took it one step further and included a link to a Jarrett Stidham highlight. So he's like, look, explain this to me, boys.
Oh, man. We're assuming that Stidham wanted to come back. I don't know that Stidham. I think Stidham took the temperature and knew that anywhere he went was going to be a short-term thing. Like he wasn't going to be the guy. I don't know that he wanted to do that. So there's a lot of unknowns here.
Well, it's down to two things. Jarrett Stidham is not a Raider for one of two reasons. Either because he only got $5 million guaranteed for 2 years to go to Denver. Like that's nothing. Like Raiders easily could have matched that for a guy that showed real promise in 2 games, knows the system, right? Knows where his locker room is, knows where to pick up his ID card. Like those, like don't forget, like don't dismiss how big familiarity is when the margins are thinner, right? Like don't think that's like not a big deal. So it was one of two things. Either Dave Ziegler completely dropped the ball and didn't get him for very cheap for what his potential was and what he's capable of being a very good backup quarterback with starter-ish potential. Dave Ziegler either completely screwed up or he wanted out of there. And I would assume it's the Josh McDaniels regime he wanted no part of. It has to be one of those two things. Because for what he got to go to Denver is nothing. If you want to start in the NFL as a backup quarterback and you want playing time, Jimmy Garoppolo is the guy you want to back up, right? You're like, I just want my shot. I just want to prove that I got something. Let me see the field. You want to back up Jimmy Garoppolo if you're that guy. So it's either Ziegler screwed up royally or it was a poisonous environment he wanted out of. It's only those two things. There's no other option.
I don't know.
I do.
I don't. Was he the smarter choice in hindsight? Yes. Because in hindsight, if Jimmy Garoppolo wasn't going to be your starter for the foreseeable future, why get him? You know, if you're preaching this page, look at, there he goes. There he goes. Look at that. Getting in there.
He's going after his D. I can't say D. Or maybe he's going after his ass, but I can say ass.
You can't say ass, yeah.
It makes
so,
sense.
It's
I don't think there's a lot of hype.
We can speculate all we want, and I think according to what we feel about different people and different decisions made, it's going to skew how we feel and our thinking and our logic. Ultimately, he wasn't the future of our team either. I don't think it didn't make a lot of sense at the time. I tried to be optimistic about it because just like how I tried to be optimistic about Josh McDaniels. He was under contract and I wasn't going to change it. I wasn't going to change that. So might as well try to see if we could, look at the bright side instead of just being a miserable freaking mush the entire time. That's how I looked at it. But it didn't make a lot of sense unless Josh McDaniels thought that he could have a long-term quarterback in Jimmy Garoppolo, which I don't think he thought that.
Well, I think it made a ton of sense in hindsight and foresight. Like he was a really good backup, knows the system, right? Young.
I think it didn't make a lot of sense to give Jimmy Garoppolo that money.
Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a whole other problem, right? That's another Ziegler screw up. Lance Mahan, 4577. Great pod. Thanks, man.
I agree.
I concur with your statement. So many moving parts that need to be fixed. Coaching is the first. Getting a coach who can move the ball. Second is quarterback. O'Connell has a better arm. Third, line on both sides will change our game. Fourth, get rid of McDaniels and his quarterback. 5, fire McDaniels. So he's saying basically coaching is first, and then we need to get a coach, and then we got to fire McDaniels, and then we got to get rid of our coach. It's like the you see the Twitter bio all the time is like, I'm really into 2 things: women, drugs, and attention to detail. That was basically.
Oh, right.
Giggity, 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 goo. So it's basically the coach 7 times, the quarterback and the lines on both sides. So basically what he's saying is everything needs to go. Go out of jail business or going out of business sale.
I mean, it's just we're in a situation now where we're continuing to make these questionable decisions. I don't know where we would have been if we would have taken a Christian Darrisaw instead of Alex Leatherwood. How our offensive line would look. I think it would look much better. I don't know what we would look like with a Jalen Carter instead of a Tyree Wilson on the defensive side of the ball.
Imagine being an offensive tackle and guard, and you're lined up against Jalen Carter and Max Crosby.
It's a shame, man. It sucks.
Yeah.
But we can't fix everything in one offseason. And ultimately, right now, I think that we should move on from Josh McDaniels. I don't think that he's going to change enough to allow him to be one of the more strategic and competent head coaches in the league. But he's the guy that we have now. So any improvement that we see should be something that we should be excited about. It just sucks, man. It just sucks. There's really no quick fix out of this thing. It took a long time for us to get here, and it's not going to be something that's going to be changed overnight.
Well, that'll be it for this episode of the Autumn Windbags, episode 201. You hosted episode 200 solo. Sorry I couldn't do the post show after the Pats win. I had strip. Even if I wanted to, you couldn't have heard me. I was going to be talking like this. I was going to be talking like I've been chasing.
That would have been a great episode with me talking. You just sitting there.
Yeah. You're just like I'm going on this like long diatribe, and you're just like talking over me, and no one knows I'm talking. I'm just talking like this. It's an irony. Like I'm a radio host by trade for 15 years, and when I get sick, the first thing that goes is my voice. Everything else can go. I just need my voice. I can be blind. I can have diarrhea. I can sit on the toilet and do a show, right? But I need my. I
have actually. I've been one of those those little squatty potty dealies.
We just got rid of my daughter's training potty. It was like a little mini potty that was in the living room. I was like, well, I don't ever plan on ever needing to use it, but it's always nice to know that it was there. You know, it's always nice to know that the backup option.
You got a little undercooked chicken, and you're like, "Damn, get out of the bathroom! I gotta go."
Yeah, like the wife's in there, maybe the other one's, getting worked on or something. It's like, okay, hit the nuclear option. It's nice to know that's there. We will do our pregame preview for Raiders Bears this week. What's work? Friday, right? Because you got the game on Saturday. You got the
So I can do Saturday early.
Let's do Friday because I got the UFC 294 is in Abu Dhabi, so the main card starts at like 9 a.m.
Oh, okay.
The main card starts at 11 a.m. West Coast time, so the prelims are like 7 a.m.
Jesus.
Thank you, Abu Dhabi. I love breakfast with my violence. It's great.
Talking about a freaking childhood or something.
Yeah.
Eggs are
Suppressed
terrible.
memories. That's it for us. Knock on wood if you're with me. Hey, you made it to the end of our video. Great job. I know you want more. Go ahead and click the next video. And if you're feeling crazy, go ahead and subscribe.